Okay, we are going to get started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. Just a couple notes before we get started. Closed captioning is available by clicking the button below. A little bit about myself. I'm Howard Levine. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Guest Services at State Theater, New Jersey, and one of the co-chairs of ArtPride's Marketing and Messaging Committee. I'm a middle-aged white male with graying hair, wearing a gray shirt and glasses, and I am coming to you from my home office in Hightstown, New Jersey, the ancestral homeland of the Lenni Lenape people. Today, we will be joined by the ArtPride staff, who will be covering updates on exciting changes coming to jerseyarts.com and the Discovery Jersey Arts brand. This has been a long time in the making, and with the help and input of many of you and others in our community, it's time that we can give a bit more of a reveal. In the last part of the meeting, just the last few minutes, we'll be giving an update on Audience Insights Manager, AIM, the community patron database for 2024. Personally, I can say about AIM that it's one of the most important marketing tools that we use at State Theater to build new audiences, as well as better understand our current audiences. A little housekeeping before we get started. Again, closed captioning is available by clicking below. If you have any questions, please be sure to drop them into the Q&A so we can address them as we go. Also, keep an eye on the chat for any links or other resources to share. We are recording today's webinar, and we'll share the video along with the slide deck. If you want to go back and reference anything or share this with any colleagues that might not have been able to make it today. I now have the distinct honor and pleasure to welcome Jim Atkinson, a person you all should know and love. And please let me add a personal thank you to Jim on the huge amount of effort and expertise he's put into guiding the process of both the rebrand of Discover Jersey Arts and the new website. Please join me in welcoming Jim.
Thank you, Howard. Good morning, everyone. I am Jim Atkinson, Director of Programs and Services here at ArtPride New Jersey. I am a middle-aged white male with black hair and black rimmed glasses, wearing a gray and black striped shirt. And I am coming to you today from my home office in Haddon Township, New Jersey, which is also on the ancestral homeland of the Lenni Lenape people. And I'm really thrilled to be here with you today. I want to thank everyone for taking the time. I know schedules are busy and your time is really valuable. So I want to thank you for taking the time to spend a little bit of time with us this morning as we bring you up to speed on what's happening with the Discover Jersey Arts program, the brand, and the new website. But before we get into where we're going, I wanted to take a little bit of a moment to talk about where we've been. I know ArtPride has done a lot of listening sessions recently. And one thing we heard over and over again is there was a bit of confusion about exactly what Discover Jersey Arts is and does. So I wanted to address some of that before we get into what's coming up in the future. So we're going to start off with a little bit of the past. And I always like to start with a mission, right? So the mission of the program is to increase the awareness of and participation in the arts in New Jersey, which is obviously an incredibly broad mission, but purposefully so, because it's allowed us over the years to change and evolve and be nimble at times to adapt to things that are going on. So the broadness of the mission has kind of allowed us to do that. But in essence, it is an audience development program. It was developed in the late 1990s, or as my 12-year-old daughter likes to say, the late 1900s, which makes me feel incredibly old. It was developed by the New Jersey State Council on the Arts. And then when it launched in 2000, the implementation of the program moved over to ArtPride New Jersey. Although with that, I will say that we have worked incredibly closely side by side with the Arts Council over the past several decades, because this thing's been around for a long time, on setting goals and making changes and deciding directions. So we are still very much happy to partner with the Arts Council, but the implementation of the program does live at ArtPride. What Discover Jersey Arts did is that it created a business-to-consumer marketing brand for the arts community in New Jersey. It led to the development of jerseyarts.com. I mean, that site has changed a lot over the going on 24 years it's been around. But that is still the consumer-driving website. As I said, it's expanded and evolved. We're going to give a few examples of things that we've done over the years. Obviously can't get into everything we've done because that would, first of all, bore you to death, and secondly, it would take way too much time. But definitely want to hit on a few areas to kind of show you the kind of things we've done in the past. And again, of course, start talking about changes coming in the spring of this year. So when it launched initially in 2000 and through 2005, it was a celebrity endorsement campaign. So we had native New Jersey celebrities, Meryl Streep, Susan Sarandon, Bebe Newark, Avery Brooks, John and Bucky Pizzarelli, Frank Sinatra Jr. appearing in a series of ads. This is a very popular campaign, won us a lot of awards. Certainly was very exciting to spend a day on a commercial shoot with Meryl Streep. That was one of the highlights of my career. And again, we ran that through 5 years before those rights sort of ran out, and that campaign had gotten a little bit stale. But it wasn't long into its initial incarnation that we started looking at other ways to use the brand. And in 2001, we did a pilot of a cooperative advertising campaign. And the way these worked is ArtPride would negotiate aggressive ad rates with media outlets, underwrite half the cost of the campaign through grant funding, and then make what we called shares in the campaign or space within the campaign available to organizations at a greatly reduced cost of what it would have been to do on its own. And we did that initially as a pilot with one radio station out of Philadelphia. And it didn't take long for this thing to catch fire. And we were doing a lot of cooperative advertising in its heyday. Print, radio, digital, television, across the board. There were times where I felt like our office had become an ad agency. But this is a really effective way to use the brand and leverage the brand, provided real services to the field. But the way advertising evolved and changed, really this became a less and less effective tool over time. And by 2015, we had sunsetted it because it just wasn't working anymore. So we always look at say, hey, we're going to do these things, but when they don't work, we're not afraid to move on past them. But this is an example of kind of things we've done under the brand beyond just the kind of brand advertising. From 2008 through 2020, we had come up with this idea to do what we call the People's Choice Awards. This is where industry representatives, folks who work in the arts, would nominate their peers in a variety of categories. The public would then vote for their favorite in these different categories. We restricted voting to one per email address to make sure there wasn't a lot of ballot stuffing going on. And at its height, we had over 20,000 people a year voting in these. So it became very popular. And then we would give the awards out. Organizations could then use that designation in their own marketing materials, which many did. And again, for quite a while, it worked really well. But then after 12 years, it did start to feel a little redundant, become a little stale. So again, we sunsetted that as well. In 2016, we got funding from the New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism to start dabbling in destination marketing. So we came up with a series of destinations around the state where we were able to combine cultural assets in that town, be it a theater, be it even a historic organization or performing arts center or a museum, whatever that may be, and combine it with dining, shopping, and hotel stay. And then we would market that as a destination, encouraging overnight stays, day trips. We specifically would market these not in their own town. So, if we were, for instance, Cape May was one of the markets, we would not market this in and around Cape May. We would market it outside of that area because it was designed to be a destination marketing tourism campaign. And we still do this to this day. I will be doing it again this summer. In 2010, we formally introduced what we call the Jersey Arts Member Program. This was a 2-tiered membership where individuals would register on jerseyarts.com for what we had a basic level that had a 2-year expiration date on it. And that would get them discounts to the events that you all would offer through jerseyarts.com, and e-savers, which was specifically a buy one, get one program. They could also pay to upgrade that to a premium 1 year, where they would get added perks, the most popular of which were what we called member parties. This is where we would work with individual venues to buy group ticketing to a show, anywhere between 20 and 50 tickets. It would range depending on the venue and the show. And then we would, on top of that, add an enrichment component. So that enrichment component could be a Meet the Playwright, it could be a private docent tour, it could be a Meet the Artist. It really varied greatly depending on what the event would be. But there would always be some sort of enrichment component for the groups who bought through us. And then we'd also have a private reception around that as well. These were wildly popular. We did a lot of them. They almost always, if not always, sold out. So this is something that we were really proud of, and it we found that groups more often than not would tell us it was their first time ever in that venue, which is something that we took a lot of pride in, because we're not actively trying to engage people who are already attending your venue to attend your venue again. We certainly want to get folks who come to the State Theater to realize that there are other venues around they can go to, but we're really primarily focused on getting new folks in the door. And when we would hear over and over again, I've never been to this venue before, I've never been here before, that was always very, very beneficial. So when we were getting ready to sunset this in December of 2019, we had over 48,000 people in it. And it was fresh because, again, those memberships would expire. So they had to re-up or renew. So that way they didn't become stale. So again, big program, lots of involvement, lots of participation, but did get sunsetted in 2020. And that was already being designed to be done, but it was a bit fast forwarded by COVID. But even prior to that, back in 2017, we were really looking at what the next phase of Discover Jersey Arts would look like. And we approached it through this lens of red ocean, blue ocean. So for those who may not be aware of the philosophy around this, red ocean is when you want to get into a market that's already got a lot of activity in it. So you want to kind of burst into something where there's already a lot of activity going on, which can be done, but typically takes a lot of resources, and you kind of have to go in and almost overwhelm your competition. Whereas a blue ocean is an area where you feel like there's room, your brand or your product can go into that space and kind of carve out its own niche. And we look at it through this lens all the time, and this changes all the time. What used to be blue ocean may now be red ocean. And we kind of looked at, when we started doing R&D, we pulled together a task force through JAM, through the Jersey Arts Marketers. There's about a dozen or so folks on that task force. And we were really looking at what the next phase of this program would look like. As part of this process, we surveyed the field. We surveyed the patrons. We studied industry trends. We reviewed our own internal data and tracking. We examined our internal capacity. There were some things we were trying to do with premium membership that were great ideas, but we just didn't have the capacity to do. We met with all of our key stakeholders, our funders, and we had to work to secure funds for what would be coming next. So this was a lot of work. There was a lot of diligence put into it. And in February of 2020, the JAM task force officially endorsed what would be the new content objectives for the updated next version of jerseyarts.com. And then these were presented as a series of in-person JAM meetings across the state. And this was sort of our cue to say, we're through R&D, we're ready to move into production. Full systems go. Until March 2020 happened. And as we all know, the COVID pandemic significantly disrupted the entire industry. Obviously, everybody were shut down, massive closures. And there was a real concern about what the future, of the arts industry in New Jersey might look like. Some initial projections that came out early in 2020 were terrifying. I remember some numbers came out saying upwards of 60% of the organizations may never reopen again. I mean, it was really a devastating time. Obviously, I'm not telling you all something you didn't know. So we shifted our efforts. We'd sort of taken everything that was done through Discover Jersey Arts, which was about getting out, seeing shows, down to, life support, frankly, and shifted our efforts into, at the time, our messaging was keep Jersey Arts alive. That became our messaging. In May 2020, we officially retired the legacy site of jerseyarts.com because it really had no content to be able to promote, because it was primarily geared, again, as an event engine. And we quickly threw together a very simple website, a very basic website dedicated to promoting, at the time, the at-home virtual events that you all were doing, and our feature content, which we'll get into a little bit in a few minutes. And then from 2020 through 2021, ArtPride's focus shifted heavily, really almost exclusively, into advocacy efforts related to pandemic resources and working toward increases in state and federal funding. So again, anything through Discover Jersey Arts, it didn't completely stop, but it really, really ramped way back down. In the fall of 2021, groups were beginning to reopen again. Your doors are starting to reopen, even though there were a lot of restrictions and there was a lot of fear out in the public. We wanted to come back through Discover Jersey Arts and do a reopening campaign, something to get folks aware that the folks were reopening. So I have a quick sample. I apologize in advance if the audio isn't great on this, but I wanted to show at least one example of the kind of things that we were doing at the time.
Hey, Jersey, we know it's been a while, but creativity never sleeps. Behind the scenes, we followed our passions, sought inspiration in new ways, found the right words, notes, and movement. Finally setting the stage to tell your story, her story, and their story. Now it's time for the show to go on. We're open and ready to welcome you back safely. Come experience the moments you've been waiting for. Find yours at jerseyarts.com.
Again, we worked with a task force through JAM to create this campaign. You know, Howard sat on that task force, and we were really proud of it. I think there was a lot of talk about safety, 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 which was obviously really important, and we promoted safety on the jerseyarts.com site. In fact, we actually created a whole series of iconography around the safety measures that you all were doing and made them available to the field, which I know a large number of organizations adopted, which was really beneficial. But we didn't want to make it strictly about safety. So you could see through this, you know, there was a through line of safety throughout it, but it was really more about getting people excited about getting back out again. And this campaign generated nearly 4 million advertising impressions, and we reached over 1 million other folks through the PR campaign that we were running alongside of it. So we were proud of this campaign. And it was really the first thing we had done under the under the Discover Jersey Arts brand in quite some time. And, you know, the timing is important, right? Because last year, ArtPride worked with Americans for the Arts on the Arts and Economic Prosperity 6 study. This did a lot of data tracking around audiences, but one of the things it does is it measures statewide audience participation. And you can see what we look like in fiscal year 17 with just a little over 8.1 million folks attending arts events across the state. That number ticked up in FY19, a little over 8.3 million. But wow, look what happened in FY22, right? Not a big shock. But overall statewide attendance at arts events was down more than 30% pre-pandemic levels. So that's, you know, that's a challenge, right? That's a challenge for this field. So I know those numbers have rebounded a little bit more since that. This data is not completely fresh, but it's not that old. But it's still showing there is definitely an issue. And we've heard this anecdotally too throughout the field that attendance is still down. So what better time than this to talk about changes coming to an audience development program, right? Good timing. So back in the spring of 2022, as all this was happening, we did start picking up work on where we had left off under Discover Jersey Arts, going back to that R&D phase we'd done with the field. And really some very minor changes to that was done, but not much. We felt like the work that was done was solid and we picked it up. So when we talk about primary content, so what's jerseyarts.com going to be when it grows up, right? So it's going to focus on feature stories, podcasts, video packages. This is the storytelling. This is the arts journalism that we've been doing through the site. We've been doing it for a long time, for honestly more than 15 years. But in the past, it had been treated as more secondary or tertiary content. It wasn't really focused on the way we're looking at focus on it moving forward. The ticket discounts, you know, again, when we did that research, wildly popular with patrons, brought a lot of new people to the website, brought a lot of new people in your doors. You know, discounting, I know you have to do it strategically, but it is still a great, you know, what we say, it's like a great gateway drug to the arts, right? You can entice new folks to come to your venues through discounting. The membership program, which had been paper actual member cards, that we sunsetted or is being reintroduced through a paperless patron accounts on jerseyarts.com. So we're not going to be mailing them membership materials anymore. They'll just log into the site through their accounts. And we will be taking folks that we have in our database that had memberships and transferring those into accounts. So we will be launching the site with somewhere around 50,000 registered users. We're still working on some data cleanup over the next month or two, but it's going to be in that ballpark. Secondary content will be curated event listings. So we do these seasonal messaging campaigns throughout the year, which again, Isaac is going to talk about in a few minutes. But we do curate those event listings to match the messaging that we're doing. We will also have a much more robust organizational directory than what we had in the legacy site. So this is a way for us to say, if you're interested in what's going on near you, we can direct you to the organizations near you and they can get full robust content directly from you versus then getting it through us. So yes, we'll have event listings, but we're going to push people to that organizational directory. That destination marketing content that we had been doing through Road Trip will now be a permanent content feature on the website. So it won't just be a seasonal campaign. It'll be there throughout the year. And then the tertiary content, that'll be things like these exclusive events, like those member parties we did, whatever we're going to evolve those into, the events like that, or other events that we've done For instance, last spring, we did Diner Theater, where we helped produce a series of pop-up theater events and diners across New Jersey. So that was kind of a spin on Dinner Theater, but it was Diner Theater. Really popular, sold out within, I think, within a week. Brought hundreds of people to see theater in a way that was really new and fresh. And those organizations, those theater companies that participated actually got access to those folks and were able to market them long term. So those are other kind of events that we do. They're kind of PR driven. We try to make them really fun, really easily accessible. Those kind of events we'll continue to do, but again, that's more tertiary than primary, secondary. And then there'll be a new portal launching on artpridenj.org, where you all will be able to interact with ArtPride and manage your content, including the content on jerseyarts.com. So the idea there is we wanted you to have one place to go. We didn't want you to have two different websites you'd have to log in, where you manage some content on one site, some content on another. All the content will be managed on artpridenj.org. And then the pieces that are relevant to jerseyarts.com will just be automatically shared with that site. So we wanted to simplify that process for you. But again, it's been a while since we've been really aggressive with Discover Jersey Arts. So we thought this is really a time to refresh the brand. So we are going to be debuting a new version of the logo. We think it's much more clean, more modern. There's a new ad and PR campaign in development to help promote this. And this will all debut when we launch the new website. So this will become the new Discover Jersey Arts logo. Again, this will debut with the website. So I want to give you a sneak peek. This site is currently in development. We're deep into the development piece of it. We're well into the development piece of it. But I wanted to give you just a few kind of glimpses of what the new site will look like. So as you can see, through design, we are focusing on that storytelling through the articles, podcasts, video packages. That's what we're leaning heavily into. But discounts are back. So if you want to guarantee your site your event will definitely appear on the website, the only way you can guarantee that'll happen is by posting it with a discount. All the other events will be curated. So again, wildly popular. Anyone who visits the website will be able to see that there's a discount, but you will have to, those users will have to log into their account to see what the promo code will be. And the way discounting will work is when you log in and you create the event, which obviously you all have to do, you'll select what percentage discount you want to offer, and then you'll assign it a promo code. And that promo code will be accepted on your website and or through your box office. You'll make that determination. There are options that you have. We've imagined the vast majority of these will just be done online, but we're not getting involved in ticketing. That was looked at, but we all agree we're not going to do that. This will all be managed through your website. So the user will then be able to log onto your website, put the promo code in to receive that discount. And you'll be able to track that discount came from us, depending on how you want to use promo codes. But yeah, this is the one way you can assure your event will be listed on the website. Well, we talk about these seasonal messaging campaigns. Winter holidays is the one that's here. That's because that's just the one we had screenshot at the time we were doing design. But right now we're just wrapping up Black History Month. So again, these are events that we curate to fit that messaging campaign. The directory, again, much more robust directory than what we'd had in the past. This is a full landing page for every organization that's registered with JAM. There's well over 300 of you all. We've already created the content for these. You will get a heads up prior to the site launching. So you'll get information to us before jerseyarts.com launches to be able to review this content. You can edit it, you can change it. We get to see we have multiple photographs, a robust description, Google mapping to where you are, and we're pulling in your Google reviews as well, which is really beneficial for the end user. Great way to show off your organization on our website. And every organization gets this. Again, that destination marketing content, pulling together those cultural assets with where to stay, where to eat. These will again be permanent features on the site. So again, how do you manage your piece of this? You'll be logging into the new member portal called the My ArtPride portal on ArtPride NJ. This is where you'll click a button and you create your event discount. This is where you click a button and you can view or edit your organizational listing. This is where you can keep your organizational contacts listed. So the way the portal will work is your email will log you in to the account that you're associated with. So Howard would obviously, he'd use his login and he'd be associated with State Theater. And you can see the other folks that are registered with the State Theater. Depending on your user level access, you'll be able to edit those contacts, which we encourage you to absolutely do. And this is also where you'll be able to see any current discounts you have listed on the website. And also, if we have a messaging campaign, this is where you'll be able to submit your information. Now, when you submit an event discount, that's going to be a full-fledged form you need to fill out because we need every bit of detail because you're creating the listing on the website. When you're submitting an event to a messaging campaign, it's much more streamlined, simple. It's really asking for, a link, a photo, and what campaign you're referring to. So yes, it's a little bit more, although it's still more streamlined than the legacy site would be to submit events. We backed off on the amount of content we're asking with you, but it is still a full form. But you're guaranteeing that event's going to appear on the website. So you're filling this form out knowing that a site will appear on jerseyarts.com. For the messaging campaign, it's really like, here's the form, drop a couple links in, give us some photos if we choose the event. And that method is much simpler, much more streamlined. So we tried to make this as easy on you all as possible. We heard loud and clear that the legacy site, while it was really robust, did ask a lot of your time and energy to put content in. We tried to make this a simpler process for you moving forward. So again, getting involved in the coming months, you will everyone who's registered with JAM will be getting notices to log into the My ArtPride portal because jerseyarts.com will not yet be live. You'll have the opportunity before the site goes live to review your directory listing, edit it, and your profile page to submit discounts. Well, you'll know we'll send these out when we have a definitive launch date, so we can start putting content into the site before it launches. You'll be able to update those contacts because we can't reach out to you if we don't know who's working at your organization. So definitely make sure your organization contacts are up to date and respond to any calls for events that may be up at that time. And you can also pitch a story for feature content. Another thing to keep in mind too is unlike the earlier incarnations of jerseyarts.com, not all of the Discover Jersey Arts content will be consumed on jerseyarts.com. Jersey Arts TV is our YouTube channel. That obviously a lot of folks will absorb this content directly on YouTube without being on our website. And the Jersey Arts podcast is available on all the major podcast platforms. So again, you may listen to the Jersey Arts podcast, but you're not necessarily going to listen to it on jerseyarts.com. So something we're very mindful of, and we want to make you all really mindful of as well. So with that, I'm going to stop talking. You've heard enough of me for today. I'm going to hand things off to my colleague, Isaac Cerna Diaz, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about that kind of content that we're doing and how you can get involved in that content. So good morning, Isaac.
Good morning. Hi, Jim. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Isaac Cerna Diaz, and I'm the digital content manager for ArtPride New Jersey. I am a 26-year-old Hispanic male with curly dark brown hair, currently wearing a dark blue and white striped button-down shirt. I'm also currently donning a black headset, which I am using to speak to you from my home office in Montclair, New Jersey. Montclair sits on the ancestral homeland of the Munsee, Lenape, and Mohican nations. Today, I'm here to talk to you about one of the main functionalities that come out of jerseyarts.com, which is the feature content. As you've seen and as you've been told, Discover Jersey Arts is the consumer-facing side of the work we do at ArtPride. And really the main functionality that we want to push going forward is the feature content. We want audiences to hear your stories, the stories that surround the events that you put on at your venues. And we're the ones that are telling those stories. We want to be the forefront of arts journalism in the state. So Jersey Arts offers feature content in several different mediums. It's three, right? A written article, a podcast, and a video package. Jim told you about Jersey Arts TV, which is the YouTube video, site where we host all of the YouTube videos. And the Jersey Arts podcast lives on several different podcast streaming services. Among these mediums, we cover all kinds of art, whether it's visual, dance, film, theater, a musical performance, you name it. Once we have the idea of what we want to cover, we work with a group of freelancers, around 10 right now, who will make these stories come to life. They'll contact whoever's involved in the production and ask them important questions about the art that they're putting out into the world, and what it means to them. We want these stories to feel more than just an advertisement for the event. We want to, tell a story about the art. And in reading the story, we're hoping that audiences will be so drawn to it, will be like emotionally invested enough to go out and see the show. Our freelancers are all talented and passionate about the work that they do. They come from all sorts of arts backgrounds and cultural backgrounds, and they're also invested in journalism. But we're also still looking to improve on, the pool that we have, so that we have the perfect people telling the perfect stories. But Discover Jersey Arts isn't all about the stories that we tell. It's all also about the messaging that we want to put out in the world and the messaging campaigns that we briefly talked about before. Formerly known as seasonal campaigns, the messaging campaigns are event packages. They're basically guides for the events that are going around in the state. These campaigns are centered around unique themes, and they're curated by our team to fit those themes. So for 2024, I mean, we talked about it briefly, but we've covered Black History Month and are still covering Black History Month until the end of February. Next month, we're looking at Women's History Month. The Spring Arts Guide comes right after. And then we have the road trips in the summer. And as Jim explained before, the road trips will exist on the site year round. But during the summer, it'll get like a much larger social media, much larger marketing push behind it. So after road trips, we have the fall events guide, and then we have the winter holidays, which will start from November to December. And now you might notice that we have, Black History Month and Women's History Month, but we're missing all of the other heritage months. The reason behind that is because of sort of how the scheduling just fell into place. But I do want to make it intentional and known that we will still be covering, months like AAPI, Hispanic Heritage, Native American Heritage, and we will be doing like marketing and social media pushes to have awareness for the months that are coming up. It's just sort of how the scheduling fell into place. It was a little awkward. For instance, Hispanic Heritage falls from September 15th to October 15th, which is like right in the middle of the fall events guide. So it'd be a little awkward to start the fall events guide and then go into a Hispanic Heritage and then go back into the fall events guide. They just kind of live inside the guide, but we will intentionally push it out. So as members, you will all have access to Discover Jersey Arts and having your events or stories covered on jerseyarts.com. There are several ways for you to get involved and to get your content featured. But probably the best way to do this right now until the new website is up and the forms live on there is to fill out the forms on ArtPride New Jersey, the ArtPride website. Hopefully someone will link this in the chat, but under the audience development tab, there is a section for the Jersey Arts content, the feature content, and a section for the messaging campaigns. Within these sections, you'll find links to forms that you can fill out to either pitch a story or submit an event for one of these messaging calendar campaigns. For the feature content specifically, we ask for a 2-month lead time. And this is very important because say you pitched an event that goes on in March. As of right now, I have March completely planned out. I already know all of the events that we'll be covering. So, the likelihood that your event will get covered is much smaller than if you were to pitch me something that's in April. I am only just starting to look at it. So which is 2 months ahead. And, the likelihood that if you pitch something that has a 2-month lead time, the likelihood that it'll get covered is much higher. As for the messaging campaigns, this works like a little differently. We put out the form a little earlier, uh, much more in advance than when the campaign actually goes up, right? So you want to be early, but the likelihood that it will be covered as long as it fits these unique themes, is much higher than if you were to pitch a story. Right now, I believe Women's History Month, we're still accepting submissions up until Women's History Month starts. Um, but as the year progresses and time moves on, we will start opening up submission forms for the upcoming campaigns. So sometime in Women's History Month, we will put the Spring Arts Guide event submission form on the website. So if you don't see it there, just wait a little, because we will get it up, and we will also, I think, email you or we'll send out media pushes, um, letting you know that the new forms are up and online. But that's it for my job. My job is to get all of the content up on jerseyarts.com. But the driving force behind the marketing and the social push, which I mentioned repeatedly, is Tanisha, who will go over all of that with you. Um, so Tanisha, if you want to hop on.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Hi, everyone. My name is Tanisha Ford. I am the Marketing and Communications Manager here at ArtPride New Jersey. I am an African-American woman of an indiscriminate age with natural curly black hair. I'm wearing black and white glasses today and a pink cardigan. I will respond to any pronoun so long as it's done respectfully. And I am coming to you from my home office in Willingboro, New Jersey, the ancestral homeland of the Lenape people. So marketing, that's where I'm here to talk to you about. How do we market your events? Now, we have two distinct categories of event content that we promote, right? Isaac just laid them out for you. We have our freelance contributors who interview artists, organizations, and casts and crews for our feature stories. And then we have our messaging campaign, where we, like you, build upon the marketing tidal wave of celebrations or heritage months. We are currently, again, in the Black History Month campaign, where we have general ads directing audiences back to our website to view the happenings of New Jersey that you have sent us or that we have gone and found for you. And we also have weekly video carousels that highlight what's happening each week. In addition, we also have a weekly email that headlines our feature story and teasers 3 to 4 events that, again, drives folks to our calendar of events. Now, this is what we do for every single messaging campaign. Incidentally, our weekly messaging guide videos, they perform incredibly well. They have that's a lot where we get a lot of questions. Where is this? Oh, this is great. Hey, Becky, we should go and see this. Hey, Keisha, we should go and see this. There's a lot of energy around these weekly videos. And there are also hugely shared. So this is in becoming a part of the seasonal campaign and making sure that your events is connected to us, we make sure that all of New Jersey is connected with you. Each event has the basics of what you are producing and links to your website. And it gives the audiences opportunities to learn more about your events as well as how to buy tickets. Now, if your staff is small or if you're challenged in keeping up your website, which when you have a staff of 3, miracles happen, small but mighty, right? We want to really encourage you to make sure, or even if you're conducting like a lot of your marketing via your socials because you just don't have the manpower, we want to really make sure that you encourage you. I strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you to make sure that your social media links on your websites are active and accurate. Very often, I in going through and finding social media links to post or to share with our feature stories, there's dead links, and then there are just links that go to wrong places. So if nothing else, if you have to pick and choose of your capacity in terms of like talking to your masses, I would really encourage you to make sure your social media links on your websites are accurate. It's full stop on that. For our feature stories, in addition to being featured on the jerseyarts.com website, each feature story is shared organically and through paid ads across all of our social media platforms, as well as through our email marketing. And we tag you and any artists that are available with each organic and paid post. So even if you are not in a feature story, when you're getting your cast and artists and performers to sign the initial paperwork before rehearsals begin or an exhibition opens, get their social media handles, not just for us so that we can highlight them if we're in a feature story, but so that you can make your own marketing needs much easier. This will help you, this will help us, and this will help New Jersey constituents get to us. So talking about our distribution channels, right? Let's talk about some numbers. Our Facebook audiences continue to grow, exposing new audiences to New Jersey, to your incredible work, while our Instagram has grown into a vibrant place for communication and conversation. Now, these numbers that you're looking at now were shared in last month's ArtPride New Jersey Organizational Members webinar. And as of today, we have 100 more new followers on Facebook and nearly 150 more followers on Instagram. In 2022, we reinvigorated our LinkedIn account, and man, oh man, has it grown. And I'm sorry, I totally lost my thread. Our sole purpose is to spread the word about what you are doing and to support you in getting butts in seats. So if we do an article about you, share that article broadly and hashtag us, hashtag Jersey Arts. In fact, if you're a member organization and you weren't able to get your event to us in time for a feature story, I recommend 2 more courses of action. Use the hashtag Jersey Arts in any of your social posts and at us at Jersey Arts. This will help us push your work on our platforms, not necessarily in the feature space, but we will still push your stuff in the social space. And always include this in any press releases that you share. Moving on, as Jim outlined earlier, next slide, please. Jersey Arts is set to undergo an exciting brand launch in 2024. And this is aiming to rekindle and expand its connection with the New Jersey diverse arts community. Now, with a strategic focus on revitalizing our brand and website, the campaign is dedicated not only to reintroducing the essence of Jersey arts, but also to invigorating the state's arts scene. Now, by embracing our legacy and enticing both loyal and new audiences with amazing offers and discounts and inside information, we will drive art enthusiasts to local venues, and that is what we all want. Yes. So how does that look? What does that look like? Moving to the next slide, through print and outdoor digital ads and commercials on various streaming platforms and so much more. This relaunch is more than just like a campaign. It is a commitment. It is a commitment. ArtPride New Jersey and of course jerseyarts.com is making to make art accessible, relatable, and an integral part of life in New Jersey, ensuring that that being there in the place where it's happening, in the room where it's happening, is always better. And with that, I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you and promoting all of your amazing work. And I'll hand it back to Jim.
Thanks, Tanisha. That was great. So yeah, we're really excited about this new campaign that we're working on. It'll be the largest campaign we've done in quite some time. and we're really looking forward to it and to refining the messaging and to getting the word out there about the assets that we're able to provide. But as Tanisha said, it's really it's amplifying the work that you all do in the field. But our goal is to really create that sense of a scene here in New Jersey, a sense of a community around arts enthusiasts. And as our data has shown, the more people attend the arts, the more people attend the arts. We are not in competition with each other. We are together in this. The arts industry is not, one theater is not competing with another theater. The theaters are competing against, staying home and watching Netflix, or going to my kids' basketball game, or going out to dinner and saying, that's what we're going to do. So it's about competing for that expendable time and money that folks have, which is ever shrinking. So the idea that we can work together and a rising tide does lift all boats is really in our best interest, especially with New Jersey's unique geography of being between the major cities of Philadelphia and New York. So there are great gravitational pulls from those two cities. And we, have such a great, vibrant arts community here in New Jersey that it's on our watch that we want to make sure folks know that we're there. And AIM is a great segue into AIM, right? So for those who are not aware, the Audience Insights Manager is a community patron database of what I call qualified cultural consumers. Because the only way you get a consumer into this database is one of the participating arts organizations, you're already on one of their lists. We partner with an organization called TRG Arts, which is a major consultancy firm that operates both here in the US and in the UK. And they've created a what they call data center, the data center platform. So this is a secure space where you can put your patron data in, and it gets combined with all the other patron data from the other participating groups around New Jersey. They do this in a large number of other markets as well. So this massive collection of data is then pinged off of Axiom. And for those who don't know, Axiom is kind of like a Big Brother database, which tracks your movements through your digital footprint. So what we're able to then do is return back to you demographics and psychographic profiles of your audiences that you really, frankly, wouldn't have access to otherwise. It also allows you to see how your patrons are crossing over and interacting with the other organizations around the state. And what some folks are sometimes surprised to find out is that your patrons are not like your patrons, right? They're arts patrons, and they are what I like to call culturally promiscuous, right? They will date other people. They will attend other arts events at other venues. And that's actually a really healthy, good thing. What's interesting is you can find out what organizations you cross over with the most. Sometimes that's surprising. It may not always be who you think it is. So myth busting is a great tool within AIM. But this allows you to, if you choose to engage in list trading, and you don't have to, you can decide which segments of your data you want to make available, which segments you want to keep private and use only for your own internal research. But it allows you to really do strategic data list sharing versus like, oh, I want to share a list with so-and-so because I assume that their audiences would be interested in me. This gets out of the assume game and really uses data to make those decisions. Also, if you're engaging in equity, diversity, inclusion efforts, the demographics you can get on your audience through AIM is a great way to both benchmark and track your progress with that work. The 2024 subscription year officially closed back in January. On February 1, the new subscription year started. The subscription year runs February 1 through January 31. We have 46 groups participating this year. And based on that, we are projecting a database of around 2 million unique households. So that's a tremendous amount of data that's in this database. Also, we mentioned earlier that patrons will have to register with jerseyarts.com to be able to get access to the discounts and to other tools. We're going to make those patrons available through AIM as well, through our AIM account. So you can market to them directly as well. That's how you'll get access to those folks. So AIM is a great tool. I appreciate Howard's robust endorsement of it. If you're interested in AIM and you've missed the window, there are opportunities for us to get you in off cycle. It's a little bit, I I won't say it's complicated, but it's a little bit more work to do it, but we can do it. So you can reach out to me directly. I'll drop my email in the chat in a moment. And I'll figure out, we can talk about how to get you in. But it is a great tool. It's something that we intend to invest more in the future, to do more research around. Again, we have access to these 2 million arts consumers. What do we want to learn about them is something ArtPride's looking forward to kind of taking some more time and effort to get involved in. And I know Howard's going to talk about it in a moment, but we have an AIM summit coming up in early March with our folks at TRG to talk a little bit more about it. So Howard, I'm going to toss it on back over to you.
Thanks, Jim. And just to touch on AIM again, I'm a very strong proponent of AIM. What Jim didn't mention was that it also allows members in the program to do list trades with the Philadelphia arts community and the New York arts community. So if you're in those regions, and many of us are, I know at State Theater, we use both those markets and we list trade with many organizations in New York and Philly. And it has built our database and it has allowed us to build our arts audience coming to the State Theater. So if you're not part of it, I strongly support that you become part of it because it's truly invaluable. With that, I want to first say I'm really looking forward, and I hope all of you are, to the rollout of the new brand and the website. It's amazing to think about all the work that's been done to keep the arts thriving in New Jersey. And a lot of thanks should go to Jim, Tanisha, and Isaac for all their hard work and guidance on these projects. I want to also thank my co-chair of the Marketing and Messaging Committee, Tracy Reggio Clark, and all our committee members. And of course, I want to thank all of you for joining us today and for keeping the arts vibrant in all our communities. I strongly encourage you to join us for the next upcoming webinars. The AIM Summit webinar is on March 7th. The Arts Pay New Jersey Results webinar is on March 8th. And again, this is the arts salary study that was sent out to many of you to take a survey on. And also, please join us for the Advocacy Day Prep webinar on March 13th. That webinar is to prepare for the March 21st event in Washington, D.C. Also, please be sure to save the date for Thrive. The conference is on June 13th at the Lewis Arts Complex at Princeton University. This conference is a great day to reconnect in person with your peers and gain new insights. Just a reminder again that the video of this meeting, as well as the slide deck, will be available on Monday. I believe a link is going to be shared and emailed to all the attendees today. And thanks so much for joining us. And we all look forward to seeing you again in March. Take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.